What's up, everybody? This is Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're listening to the LCC Network. Go Bucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse on the LCC Network for part 1 of week 3 of our regular season. And man, was last week filled with a bunch of drama in the NFL and in the LCC. Lots of stuff planned for you guys in this episode. Again, we don't have Isaac, unfortunately, for this episode or the next one that you'll be listening to. It sounds like he had like an aunt or someone coming to town. So we won't have him this week, but we'll have him again next week, thankfully. And like always, though, I've got Jameson. What's going on?
So I'm here, taking the role, I guess, of me and Isaac this week. So a couple of things we're going to cover on this show. It's going to be pretty quick. We're going to do some LC headlines, some over-under, and some pain or patience as guys react or overreact to weeks 1 and 2 as we head toward week 3. So, Pat, I'm excited, man. Are you excited?
I'm pumped.
Cool.
I'm 2-0. What's not to be excited about? Jeez.
I'm 2-0 in the other league.
Skin of my teeth.
Yeah, that was a close one with Finkel. That was really close.
God.
I think everyone was shocked by how close that one ended up being.
Yeah, some of that was self-inflicted, but he had a good week. One of his best weeks probably. He'll have the whole year. So
yeah, yep. So we'll jump into the show here and get started. So LCC headlines. So a couple things here we want to mention. No fun at the amusement park. Peyton starts 0-2 on the season. And even though he scored pretty well, he's actually scored pretty well. He actually leads that division in points, but he's at the very bottom of that division just because of the way it's shaken out for him. I haven't heard from him. Not sure what his situation, if he's panicking or whatnot. So we'll see as we head into week 3. But I'm sure he can't be happy with how things have turned out so far.
No, definitely not. I mean, again, we were pretty high on him in our preseason power rankings or whatever you want to call them. And again, he's kind of letting us down, man. I mean, 0-2, we didn't see that happening, although we did, we had kind of all had the same agreement that he did have a tough schedule to start off the year. But not a spot you want to be in as you're about to go and play Billy this week.
Yeah. And that roster is completely stacked. I'm going to pull up really quickly just week 2, just so you can see what he did on his offense. Here, Lamar Jackson, 65, Saquon, 38, OBJ, 41, Julio Jones, 50. So he had almost 200 points alone from his 4 offensive players. And then his defense is where it collapsed. 10, 3, and then 25, 25, 25, 13. Just not a lot of points being scored there. But Peyton, I'm sure he wants to bounce back this week against Billy. And we'll talk a little more about that in the next episode. So the Crazy Legs, crazy fast start. Matt, 2-0 heading into week 3. 300 points plus in both weeks. Smacked down Tyler last week. His team is looking very good.
Yeah, Matt's looking way better than we gave him credit for. I don't want to say it's due to luck or anything, but he's off to a good start. He's looking good. This is kind of where you want to be, especially when you're competing with Hunter in your division. And you got the lead, man. This is the first time Matt has ever started out the season leading that division since before Hunter joined the league. That's how long it's been. 2016 was the last time Matt has ever held first place in any division at any given time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's been a little while. So we're not used to seeing that, at least in the last few years. So congrats to him. And, I'm sure he puts his division opponents on watch there. So final headline, We Back is back, question mark / exclamation point, I guess. Great week 2, 331 points, smacked down division opponent Mike by about 70.67, I think is what the total was. So big Oss, excited to see what you got there. Hopefully you're not tilting too much. I know you've been kind of active in the trade market lately, so we'll see what the rest of the season holds for you.
Yeah, I think we got some some good things to see yet out of Big Os and that rebuild team of his.
Yeah. He did a good job so far. All right, we'll move into some over/under here real quick. Probably 5 or 6 statements we'll kind of discuss here and kind of get some thoughts and go through it. So first, speaking of Big Os will win more games this season than Ethan and Bryson did combined between 2017 and 2018. That total, Patrick, was 4 games between the two of them. Does Big Os win more games this year than that? Over/under?
Over, for sure. I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, under means he only wins 3, only 2 games the rest of the year. I find that hard to believe. I think he's definitely going over 4, for sure.
Especially in that division. I think he goes over 4. In fact, I think we predicted more than that in our pre-season kind of rankings stuff. So no surprise there. The Dolphins have this is atrocious, and it's sad that this is even a question. The Dolphins have 28 total points by week 4.
Oh my God.
They have 10 points so far. Shut out last week, 43-0. So Patrick, are you saying here that they have 28 total points at the end of week 4 or at the end of week 3, like by week 4?
By the start of week 4. By the start of it.
Do they have 28 total points?
Yeah.
No. That means they would score 18 points against the Cowboys this week, and that's not going to happen.
Is that not hard to imagine? We're sitting here talking about a professional football team that we're saying is definitely not going to have 4 total touchdowns for the year by the start of week 4. That is atrocious. That's horrific. Yeah. There are college football teams out there who have put up more points. In fact, Wofford is one of them. Furman is one of them. I mean, I'm just naming random FCS schools in the state of South Carolina right now who scored more points than the Miami Dolphins. That's nuts. That's crazy.
They look like an FCS team through the first 2 weeks.
They do.
So they look awful. I'm going under. What about you?
Oh, yeah, definitely under.
Yeah, yep. This one's actually tough. Todd Gurley finished the season as an RB1. So in the top 12 running backs, he's currently at 15 in the LCC. Patrick, is he going to finish as an RB1?
Oh, man, it's so hard to say because the way the Rams have been using him. I'm going to say he does. If he was part of our panic or patience thing, I would say be a little bit more patient with Todd Gurley. I think we could still see some decent things down the road. Obviously, they're not using him the way they used to. I say yes, he does easily finish in the top 12.
I say he does simply because of injuries to running backs. So running backs that are used frequently are going to miss time. Joe Mixon's already missing time. We know Leonard Fournette might miss some time eventually. James Conner's already hurt. Josh Jacobs has already got an injury. So, I mean, we'll see guys miss a few games here and there. And as long as he stays healthy, he could finish as an RB12 just by default like that. But he's being utilized very sparingly. If you've watched the Rams games over the past 2 weeks, he's getting points because he is getting touchdowns still. They're using him near the goal line to some degree, even though Malcolm Brown has stepped into that role a little bit. But we said this would happen. We said this would happen in the offseason, that he wouldn't play that bell cow role, where he gets 25, 30 touches a game. He wouldn't be running the ball 8, 9, 10, 12 times when they're up by 20 points like he did last season. We saw this coming. So it shouldn't surprise anybody, the role that he stepped into now, but he's still a very productive fantasy back as long as he's scoring touchdowns, just like we assumed that he would be. But RB1, I'll take the yes on that one, a low end RB1. So Billy finishes week 6 at 3-3, so he's 2-0 right now. So Patrick, you would say he would have to go 1-3 over the next 4 games for this to happen. His schedule looks like it's going to be Peyton, John, Patrick, and then Mufali. Patrick, what are your thoughts?
I picked 3-3 because that's, he's 2-0, so you can tell yourself, all right, just 2 more games. That's very doable. That's a tough stretch. Peyton, John, my dad, me, and then Mufali. I'm going to over means he gets 5. God, I'm going to say I'll go under. If with those odds, I'll go under. Although I think 3-3 is more than likely.
Well, over would be 4, so he would get 4 and 2.
Yeah, sorry.
It'd
Listen
be
to me.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say
So that means
over because he's only got to win 2 games. 2 of those 4 he's got to win.
That's true.
So I'm gonna say over. He can get 2 of those wins.
Let me change mine. I'm gonna go over 2.
Okay.
Because I don't want to like spoil our next episode and everything who I'm picking in that game, but I think he can get 2 wins out of that.
Yeah.
The more I think about it.
I think so too. Top shot as East Division champ will win 2 games, finish 2 games ahead of the second place team. Right now you got Matt 2-0, Hunter 1-1, and Michael 1-1. God, this is every other year. This would be really tough or really easy to say Hunter, absolutely. But Matt got off to a really good start. But 2 wins, that's pretty normal, I think, for division winner. I'm still gonna say yes to this. That Hunter will still win. Well, I don't want to say over because that would be more than 2 games. Man, this is tough. I'm going to say 2 games. Hunter will finish 2 games ahead of Matt and Michael, or Michael.
But hang on, you got to do under over here. Which way you're going?
I'm going to go under if I have to do over. 3 games is a lot. That's a big lead. That's like first seed and not in the playoffs. Like that's a big lead. So I'm going to say under if I have to pick over under. I'm going to pick under.
I'm going to go under too. I was actually talking to Cody earlier today, and we were talking about Michael is really not as bad as you may think. He's only a few pieces away from having a pretty legitimate squad. And like we said, Matt's already off to a 2-0 start. I think under. I think more than likely, if I had to pick between those 2 options, I'm going to go under.
Gonna go under. Okay. And then the last one here, Storm finishes week 6 at 1-5. So you have to go over at 2-4 or greater, or under at 0-6. Pat, I'll let you start, Pat.
I mean, he's 0-2. He's still got to play Cameron this week. He's got Matthew Watchhorn, Mafali, and myself. I mean, 3 out of those 4 games are going to be tough, without a doubt. Hopefully, against me, it'll be tough. Notoriously play bad against bad teams, but I don't know. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over. I think that 2-4 by the end of week 6 is doable. Matthew Watchhorn is a game he could win. I could go either way, more than likely. And then, yeah, sure, he could pull out an upset against myself, Mafali, or Cameron. But that's the best case scenario. I mean, that is literally best case scenario, 2-4 by week 6, by the end of week 6.
I'm going under 0-6 for Storm.
Oh my God.
Cameron, nope. Matthew Watchhorn, nope. Mafali, nope. You, nope. He's going 0-6. He's one of the lowest. Not only is he 0-2, he's one of the lowest scorers in that conference, if not the lowest scoring team in that conference. And that's a tough schedule. I mean, he got stuck with a tough schedule. So no, I don't. I mean, I think it's a little more bold because it's really unusual for a player to go 0-6. But I'm going to say that he doesn't win one of those games, and we'll see what happens.
So if Storm was in our panic or patience segment, you would definitely classify him as a panic scenario.
Oh, I wouldn't be pressing the button. I'd be holding the button down while I'm screaming at the top of my lungs for someone to come help me. Like room on fire. Like yeah, I would. That's panic mode right there. Absolutely. That's like eating Taco Bell and not being able to find a bathroom. Panic mode right there.
Oh,
for
man,
him.
that's rough.
So no. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for him. All right, on to our last segment here, just to close out the show. It's gonna be a fairly short episode. Panic or patience? We've alluded to that earlier on. We wanted to talk about a few topics here and kind of get a feel for if guys should be worried or should have some patience and allow the season to kind of shake out. So first one here, James Conner owners. He's got the knee injury, hasn't played well. Pittsburgh hasn't played well. If you're a James Conner owner, Patrick, are you panicked or are you having patience?
Whew, man, let me take a deep breath before I even say that. I'm going to panic, honestly. Without Big Ben, we have never seen Pittsburgh play an entire season without Big Ben with an elite running back there, and how that transpires, how the offense starts to run, what is the ball flow like? What do we expect? I mean, we have nothing to go off of right now, other than we know James Conner is a very skilled back, but without a quarterback, what does that do? To me, you got to be worried. You have to be worried if you're a James Conner owner.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's exactly where I would be right now. 14 points, 18 points. I mean, that he hasn't inspired confidence yet. The game scripts I don't think are going to be in his favor moving forward without Big Ben. So yeah, I mean, he's already banged up. We saw this a little bit last year, and it's already kind of happening now. So yeah, I mean, if I was a James Conner owner, I would be either stashing him and hoping to keep him next year cheap, or I would be trying to trade him, because I don't think he's going to be a key piece to a championship run this season for anybody, unfortunately. And I love James Conner, so I hate to see that, hate to say that, but I think that's where I am with him too. Just to kind of bring in another, because we have this like 5 points down the list, but since these are kind of connected, I wanted to bring in the other topic here. That's Juju and his owners, Juju Smith-Schuster. So as we mentioned, Big Ben is out for the season. Juju is already struggling, like we saw, Pat. So are you concerned about Juju now that he's got Mason Foster throwing to him?
Yeah, that definitely concerns me. I mean, in the back of your head, obviously Juju's still the number one guy there, but what is that quarterback ability like to get him the ball? I mean, you have to be worried. I mean, he was already struggling with Big Ben as his quarterback. What is it going to be like now? I think you have to be a little bit worried there, just like we were talking about for James Conner. If you're not panicking, then there's something wrong with you. You must not have a pulse, because this is a worst case scenario. Big Ben going down for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think on the positive note, if there's something that you want to pull away from this, so 17 points in both weeks. Juju Smith did get 8 targets last week, so that's a positive. The game scripts are probably going to favor his skill set and position more than they will James Conner. So if there's one of these guys, I think I'm a little more confident it's probably Juju, even if it is garbage time. They're down 20 points and he's on the last drive just soaking up targets. You know what I mean? And maybe he falls in the end zone or something. Yeah. So but to your point, I'm worried about both of these guys. In fact, I'm worried about a lot of guys, and we'll kind of talk about a few more here in a minute, without their star quarterbacks and what it does to their value. He's already struggled. I mean, if you can move Juju now and go get a guy like a T.Y. Hilton or a Travis Kelce or someone like that, I might do it if I didn't, not considering next year value, keeping him cheap and stuff like that in our dynasty league. I might move him if I'm trying to make a run this season. Just kind of keep that in mind and watch it as we approach week 6 and see what happens with him moving forward. Pat, you mind if we skip to the Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara thing here, since we're talking about?
Let's do it.
Okay, since we're talking about running backs and receivers and what their value is without star quarterbacks, we wanted to mention Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, both without Drew Brees. Alvin Kamara received little to no work Sunday when Drew Brees went down with the injury. Teddy Bridgewater is getting acclimated. He is probably one of the best backup QBs in the league, but this isn't Drew Brees. They're not going to be near the goal line. They're not going to be in the red zone as much. I can't help but think both of their values take a hit, even if they're still relevant to some degree. I can't help but think they're not going to be the same guys that we expect them to be.
I think they definitely take a hit, like you said, but I would have a little bit of patience with this scenario because Teddy Bridgewater is the backup. He's probably one of the better backups you can have on any franchise in the NFL. He does bring that mobility aspect to where he can scramble the ball and extend plays a little bit further. I say be a little bit patient, but in the back of your head, don't be totally surprised if these guys regress, because you do have a very sub-average quarterback now throwing them the football.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you said not to be as concerned about this group as we were at the Steelers. I think that's a fair assessment. Michael Thomas still had 22 points. Again, if they're behind, just like the Steelers, I think Michael Thomas's position and skill set might be a little bit easier to get those garbage time points than Alvin Kamara. So we'll see, but I mean, I'm not panicking yet. I am concerned, but I'm still going to hold on to these guys. I'm not going to tilt and trade them too early. So, all right, Pat, just a few more here. Did you want to mention this owners who paid big this season for RB1s, wide receiver ones?
Yeah, I think that's worth mentioning since we're talking about our running backs and receivers right now. And I'll ask you. I mean, panic or patience here. Owners who paid big this offseason on RB1s versus wide receiver ones. At the moment, the top 10 RBs have averaged the exact same amount as the top 10 wide receivers, which is 36.15 points per game. And I guarantee you some of the RB1s that we thought were going to be RB1s are no longer RB1s at this time while we're recording the episode.
Yeah, I mean, if you traded for some of these guys, you can't be happy, right? If like a Joe Mixon or a Todd Gurley. I mean, maybe you're okay with a Todd Gurley in our league because he has scored touchdowns. But I mean, I think you've got to be a little bit concerned. I think the only one not concerned is probably Dalvin Cook owners, if they got Dalvin Cook, recently. But yeah, I mean, Alvin Kamara, like we just talked about. The wide receiver ones, do you know any of them off the top of your head that were traded for?
Yeah, well, I was going to start with some of these running backs, and you tell me how you feel about some of these situations.
Okay.
I mean, one of the ones we had at the very beginning of the offseason, we had this package deal where Peyton, owner of Amusement Park, gave up Alvin Kamara and Keenan Allen for BPs, that's owner of Beg for Greg, Julio Jones, and Jordan Poyer.
Well, I mean, like we just talked about Alvin Kamara, I guess it's looking a little bit better now for Peyton than it is for Billy Powell. But I mean, Julio looks great. Poyer looks great. So I mean, right now it looks like Peyton got the better end of that deal. Even though, had you asked me, a month ago, I would have said that BP definitely got the better end of that deal with getting Alvin Kamara, getting a stud running back.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
And then you go look at the Todd Gurley trade. I mean, we thought that was crazy at first. I mean, BP gave up Todd Gurley for J.J. Watt and Derwin James. We all know what's going on with Derwin James and J.J. Watt. I mean, my God, it's like a whole different person.
Yeah.
So
even though we expected regression from Todd Gurley, that was still insane. I never would have ever done a trade like that, even for a guy like Derwin James. Because even 70% of Todd Gurley is still better than most running backs in the league, which is what we're seeing right now.
I guess my thing is, I think you do have to panic if you're one of those owners that paid up big for a RB1 versus a wide receiver one. I think there's been more consistency among the wide receiver ones versus the running backs. I mean, like we said earlier, James Conner is not the same person this year. We were totally wrong about Williams in Kansas City. We were totally wrong about, we're not wrong about Todd Gurley. We were spot on with Todd Gurley. He's like a low-end RB1, high-end RB2 at this point, no longer the elite running back of once before. I think you have to be a little bit, you have to be panicking a little bit if you're an owner that paid big for running back. I know I'm panicking at the moment as for someone who paid big for Christian McCaffrey. I'm sitting in a situation now where do I have to modify my expectations on what his production is going forward?
Yeah, I wouldn't stress too much, even with Cam out. It'd be a lot like Le'Veon Bell this weekend. Like I think, even if he's incredibly inefficient, he'll still get, 30 touches, 8, 9, 10 catches in a PPR league. I think he's going to be just fine. But yeah, you're right. There has to be some concern if you paid up big. Sorry, my throat's crazy dry tonight. Last two things here. We're going to kind of lump them together. We're going to lump them together. Amusement Park and Protect the Booty. 0-2. Two teams that we felt like had pretty solid rosters. Peyton's trailing by 2 games in his division. Tyler, off to the worst start ever in his franchise history. He's known for starting fast and falling apart. Now he's starting slow. So there's not a lot of hope that he can turn it around. Peyton, we already talked about that. We want to see him turning around. We've had high expectations for years. So these guys, Patrick, are they in panic mode or patience mode?
Definitely panic mode. I mean, obviously Tyler's only a game behind for first place in this division. I mean, he could definitely recover from that, but we're not seeing anything to get us excited about Protect the Booty at the moment. You go look at Peyton's team at Amusement Park, his numbers are definitely better, but now he's trailing 2 games from first place in that division, a game from second place in that division. You have to be panicking if you're both of those guys. I mean, if I had to pick one to turn it around, obviously I'd pick Peyton. He's in a much better situation. Despite being 2 games in his division, he could definitely catch up if you look at Billy's schedule going forward. But you got to be panicking. You got to be worried. You have to be thinking to yourself, is there anything I could do differently? And if so, what do I need to do before it's too late? Because both of these guys missed the playoffs last year. I doubt, especially Tyler, wants to miss it for like a 4th year in a row. I don't even know
Like
how
a
long it's been,
19th, a 19th year in a row. It's been a while. Yeah, Tyler panicking. Yeah, absolutely. His, 0-2, horrible points, horrible metrics, not scoring a lot of points. Peyton, on the other hand, is scoring a lot of points. So I think I'd be a little more patient if I was Peyton, but you're right. Neither one of these owners can be happy about what's going on so far. So, all right, guys. Well, that is it. We're going into week 3. We're going to actually record right now here in a few minutes. The excuse me, the predictions episode, and get that out to you by the end of the week. This one will be out here sooner, probably Wednesday night or Thursday. Pat, any final thoughts?
Nope. We'll see you guys for part 2. Like I said, should be out more than likely Friday morning for most of you. And yeah, looking forward to week 3.
All right. See you soon.